Have you thought about what job you'd like to do when you're older? Would you like to make things grow and help people make the world around them a more beautiful place? Would you like to build things and help people have safe and happy homes? Are you a daredevil? Would you like to do a job that's a little more interesting and unusual? Would you like to feed people? Trying creative things in the kitchen, or maybe document the world around you and share what you learned with others? Would you like to work in an office, maybe an accountant or a lawyer? Or be a healer, like a nurse or a doctor, and work in a hospital? Maybe you want to teach people, children and adults, about the world around them. Maybe you want to work in retail and help people find the things they need to eat and drink. Maybe you'd like to be a firefighter or a policeman and keep people safe, or work to make sure that things are sent out of warehouses on time. Maybe you'd like to work in an office but be creative, like an architect or a fashion designer. Maybe you'd like to study science and be a researcher. Maybe you have a passion to keep the world clean and you want to make sure that everybody has what they need to be safe and clean in the world around them. Whatever job you're interested in, today we're going to talk about what kind of work we do. Hi everybody, I'm so glad to see you again this week. Today we're going to talk about jobs. We've already been talking about them a little bit, about the jobs that God wants us to do. So some of the examples that we talked about on the slides were teaching, healing, preaching, and listening and praying. Now, some of you may know that, in fact, I'm the minister here. For those of you that didn't, I am one of the ministers. Nancy is our other minister, and we work together. And, sometimes as a minister, I've had people have some pretty strange ideas about what I do or what I think or how I live. So I'd like to talk to you about some of the myths about ministers. Now, some of these are pretty crazy, and some of them, well, you might have thought yourself. So the first myth as a minister, that I only read the Bible. That is not true. I love to read all sorts of books, Harry Potter, some of my favorite book series, the series of Unfortunate Events, all sorts of books about fiction and interesting people in the world. And when I'm really wanting to relax, I will sit down and read a trashy romance novel. So there you go. I read other things than the Bible. Second myth about ministers, that we are really holy and good people. Well, we try our best, but the reality is that we are no better or worse than anyone else. We're human beings and we make mistakes. In fact, there are lots of people in church that I know that are way better people than I think I am. They do a much better job of being kind and loving each other than I think I do. What else is a myth about ministers? Well, that we can't date or get married. Now, in some churches, that's the case, but not in the United Church. We can go on dates, we can get married. Sometimes ministers get divorced too. It happens to everybody. So that's another myth. Myth about ministers that's not so good, that some people think that we think we're better than other people in the church or in the world. That's not true. I don't think I'm any better than anyone else. I just try my best, like everybody, each and every day. And some days, okay, I'm a pretty decent person, Other days I get angry, and if I happen to be hungry, sometimes I get really grumpy and miserable. There are some people that I don't like, and some people that I sometimes don't want to talk to, and sometimes because I'm miserable or grumpy, other people don't want to talk to me. I'm just a normal person. I just happen to work for God in the church. Some people think ministers like to judge other people. We don't like to do that either. I don't like to judge anyone because I've been judged and I know what it's like and I don't like it. And so I don't want to judge anyone else. And sometimes people might think that ministers think we're more important than others, and we're not. In fact, sometimes we are the least important people in the room because there are other people that are doing so many other things that are so cool, and they're volunteering and they're giving of their time, and they are amazing people. So my work as a minister is just one job that we can do for God. And like I said, it doesn't make me any more important or any better than anybody else who loves God. When we decide to follow God, to follow Christ, we all have the same book that we read, and it is the Bible. But it's not like I have a special Bible that I have to read. We both have the same Bible. And you are called to be just as good as I am as a minister. And we both have equal chance to be just as bad. So the job that I do is to try and teach people about God, to help other people learn about God, to help people have faith in God by talking about my faith, by doing things like what I'm doing right now. And this is my work in the church. And sometimes things go really well, and other times I must make lots of mistakes. And I'm no better or worse than anyone else. We're all just doing our best to try and follow God. In fact, I know lots of people in this very church who I think do a much better job of following God than I do. How can you follow God? What job could you do? You don't have to be a minister or even volunteer in church to do things that help God. One thing that would help God is by treating each other with respect. That's a job we could do. Trying to be respectful of people we meet in the world. Trying to help them understand that we respect them and we see them and we hear them. How could we do that? What would that job look like? Well, we could listen to them. We could decide whether or not we want to hear what people say based on what they're saying, not based on what they look like or where they come from or what religion they belong to. We can love people. Now, that's a job everybody can do, love everyone else. You don't have to follow God or believe in God to do that. But God calls us and Jesus calls us to love in a special way, to love everybody, not just the people that love us. So that means that even somebody who isn't very nice to you, like maybe the bully at school, or that kid at school who always bothers you, or the teacher whose voice drives you crazy, you're supposed to love them too. What does love look like? Well, it doesn't mean you have to go up and hug them, or you have to let them do terrible things to you. But it means trying to accept the fact that because they are alive in the world, they are special to somebody and they have good qualities, even if they don't always share them with you. And so trying to see them as somebody that is capable of being loved. It doesn't mean you have to like them or you have to let people bully you or that you have to pretend around them. But it does mean you have to understand that they get to live and think and be the way they want to be, just like you do. And so doing what you can to respect them and love them as a human being, even if you don't like what they're doing or you don't always hang out with them, that's okay. What about praying for each other? Can we pray for each other? Yeah, in fact, praying for people is a really awesome thing to do. So think about your bully. Sometimes when people bully other people, it's because they're hurting a lot inside. Because somebody has done something to them that hurt them. And so the way they feel better is by hurting someone else. Doesn't sound like a great way to be for me, but for some people, that's how they feel strong and they feel safe. So what do you think that person really needs? Well, I think maybe they need to know that they're loved, that somebody might be taking care of them, that they might have a better example they could follow. Now, maybe you can't say that to them because they wouldn't want to hear it from you, or they wouldn't like you to think that they weren't strong, but you could pray for them. You could pray for them and you could say to God, I hope this person is okay. I hope this person is safe. I hope this person knows that they don't have to bully other people to be liked or to feel powerful. I hope that someone takes care of them so they don't have to hurt other people. You can pray for people that are sick. You can pray for people that are lonely. You can pray for people that are afraid. You can pray when you're afraid. You can do little things that you see in the world that other people need. For example, maybe after church at coffee time, there might be somebody who really wants a coffee and a cookie, but maybe they're elderly and they walk with a cane and they can't carry a coffee cup and a plate with a cookie at the same time. You could volunteer to help them. Maybe if you're waiting for your parents to come out to the car and you notice that the car next to your own car is covered in snow, you could clear it off. Maybe if your neighbor can't rake their own leaves, you could rake them for them. There's lots of little ways you can help in the world around you. You just have to have eyes that want to see and be helpful. That's another one of God's jobs. Ways that we can make a difference. So, what job would you like to do for God? Would you like to listen? Would you like to help? Would you like to teach? Would you like to help people be respected? All sorts of jobs that you can do. You just have to think about it and think about them. So I hope that today you've had a chance to think about all the different jobs that we could do for God and the ways that you could help the world around you. You don't have to be a minister like I am to be a big difference in God's world. You just have to be you and see the unique ways that you can help the world. I hope you have a really great week. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye. Wow! Isn't that amazing, all the different jobs we can do to help God and the world around us, to make a difference and help people feel loved? Whether it's working in the garden to grow things for people around us, helping people when they just need a hand and to know they're not alone, whether it's doing what we can to care for the world and each other, or volunteering and just making a difference with people just like us. Whether it's collecting food for food drives and helping to make people happy in our community, or just a little thing like cleaning the snow off of someone else's car so they don't have to. We can build communities around us by helping each and every day, by growing and working in the world so that everybody has a chance to succeed. What kind of job are you going to do?